Hey guys, Christy with SharkPixel.com here, wanting to show you a few of the new tools that were rolled out and introduced in the new Photoshop CS6, which was released to the public yesterday. I hope you guys learned something from this and you can apply these tools in your everyday workflow. So the things that we're going to touch on quickly are the Content Aware Move tool in its extend mode, which is new to Photoshop CS6. Also the patch tool using its new content aware setting, and then one or two tools that were introduced in Photoshop CS5 like the Puppet Warp tool. What we're going to do quickly today is just basically changing the tail and the positioning of the tail of this mermaid. Thank you so much to Chris Crumley at chriscrumley.com for the picture and letting us use it. So let's get started. Like I said, we're just going to be quickly moving the orientation of the tail using a few of the tools and using no liquify whatsoever, which is kind of cool. So let's get started. Here we've got our flattened background layer of the image. So what I'm going to do first is hit Command J to copy this layer here. Okay, and with that selected, I'd like to go ahead and make a loose selection of this tail. And I am keeping it pretty loose because I do want to give Photoshop that kind of buffer around the tail, around the selection, so that it kind of knows what the background is. So using our Content Aware Move tool here, we're going to make sure that instead of the mode Move, we've got it on mode Extend. And we're going to just drag and drop just slightly to show a little bit of an extended tail there, and giving Photoshop a minute to think about it, but it looks pretty good right there. A little bit of ghosting maybe right here, but we can get rid of that later easily. So go ahead and deselect that. And what I'd like to do now is go ahead and make a selection of this tail again, but this time I want to use the quick selection tool here. So yes, layer selected, thank you. So pulling in the tail, and we're just going to select the bottom of the tail actually right now. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. Making sure we get all those little areas in there. You know, quickly I'm just going to hop over to refine edge here just a bit, and we're going to take the we're going to go ahead and shift this edge out just a bit, making sure we get everything. I just want to make sure we get all the aspects of the tail. I'm not really worried about the artifacts on either side because this is, like I said, this is a quick little tutorial. We're going to export our output as a selection and hit OK. So that's just giving me a little bit of extra wiggle room on either side. The same thing can be achieved using the select menu, modify, and expand, and then putting in a few pixels depending on your image size. So just wanted to let you know that. So now with this selection we are going to go into Puppet Warp, and I have chosen to keep Show Mesh off. I just think it's easier, and I'm just going to use pinpoints. I'm just adding a few of these pinpoints to the tail. And this really kind of reminds me of Illustrator just a bit. So now I can drag and drop these and it will kind of move accordingly to what I'm trying to get it to do. And just adding a little bit of movement here, a little bit of life, should we say. Oops, no. And letting it really feel like it's actually in motion. Alright, so we've got that taken care of. So thank you, Puppet Warp. So if I deselect there, it looks great, except we need to get rid of this this background tail, because we can't have that shining through like that. It's not going to look very nice at all. So I'm going to quickly turn off this top layer because we don't need it right now. I'm going to duplicate the background layer so that you can, and I'm horrible with naming layers, people. Ground. Okay, so I've got a copy of the background, and I've got a foreground layer, which I have turned off. Okay? So with the foreground layer turned off in this background 2 layer, quickly again, this is the 3rd time I've selected this tail, so I probably should have saved my selection and then loaded it back in a couple of times, which is easy, but I will, if anybody wants me to show a video of that, I can. Just let me know. So with this tail selected here, I'm going to cut it off right there at the thinnest point. And with that said, go ahead and go to Edit, Fill, and Content Aware. Go ahead and use that. Wow, it does a really, really good job of filling that content with what's around it. I'm going to do it one more time so that it doesn't pull in that watermark, or it pulls in more of that watermark. Hold on one second. Alright, well, simple clone stamp. We'll get rid of that. So I got rid of the tail completely in one step. That used to take a lot more time in Photoshop. So thank you, Content Aware. You've saved me on many occasions. On this background 2 layer, we are going to go to the Spot Healing Brush tool, and we are going to click Content Aware so that it's basically using that kind of algorithm in the Spot Healing Brush tool. And no need to sample an area at all. I can just get rid of that kind of stuff. Anything that I think needs to be tweaked just a bit, I can. We're getting a little bit of this ghosting or fuzziness when it comes to trying to blend the layers together, which is understandable, but what's really cool is this create texture setting on the spot healing brush. So if there are those areas that I think are a little bit soft, that don't really match up, or they look, you know, like they've been cloned or anything like that, it's so simple to just add that surrounding texture back in, and it works really, really well. I'm really, really thrilled. So adding that tail back on, we've got on this foreground layer, we've got this little area here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that as well. Gone. Alright, well, that was pretty simple if you think about it in the grand scheme of things. How long did it used to take you to do that? Quickly using the clone to just clean up this edge. So what used to take quite quite a long time is now taking a couple minutes. So let me group these together for you to show you the before and after. So nothing going on, movement going on. Nothing going on, movement going on. So anyway, just something small. Thought you guys might enjoy it, and hopefully you learned something and you'll come back soon for another video tutorial. Thanks so much, and check out sharkpixel.com.